all of a sudden, every basketball player that plays basketball at a really, really high level that is white is now scrutinized. Why? I don't understand. Oh, it's Cooper Flagg, not Connor Flagg. I get it. Okay, and the latest is Cooper Flagg, 6'11", or whatever height he is. He's just damn good, and he is on the U.S. select team, taking on the U.S. Olympic team in practice, and he's kicking ass. He just is. He looks terrific. He's going to Duke. He was the number one player in high school basketball last year, and he has done nothing, and I mean nothing, to dispel that. In fact, I would argue the way he's played, you probably put him on the Olympic team and win the gold medal. That's how good he has been. But as everything in this world, we can't just have a white basketball player, whether he's foreign or American, female or male. We have to discuss race. Kornheiser, Wilbon, PTI, really the only one of those shows that I like, they actually had this discussion. They are saying there's going to be a lot of pressure on him because he's white. There's going to be a lot of pressure on him because he goes to Duke. Well, let me stop you with the second part. Of course there's pressure when you go to Duke. There was immense pressure when you went to Indiana or UConn. You're expected. The expectations are high. And, of course, you know what they did. They're comparing Cooper Flagg to Caitlin Clark. And it's not nearly the same thing. Caitlin Clark, well, she's the all-time leading college basketball scorer. Her brand was made by playing in college. This kid doesn't have a brand at that level yet, but he does. He is on the way. So here's what Kornheiser and Wilbon had to say.
Result of this. Look, he was the number one recruit, as your son told you. And it's a big deal that he's going to Duke. But let's get to the real facts of this, okay? Because he's going to Duke and because he is a white player, assumptions are going to be made. Statements are going to be thrown out there. That is the nature of what we're dealing with here, as it is with Caitlin Clark. I hope he is a great player, but the pressure on him will be enormous. You and I talk about this on air and off air. Will there be a great white American basketball player again, sort of like Larry Bird? And if there is, will he be allowed to just be a basketball player, or will all these cultural notions overwhelm him?
At first.
Right.
And the question, I hope this kid has the stomach for this, Tone, with parents who can help and teammates who can help. But, Tony, this is a real thing. People don't really want to get into it with Caitlin Clark. This is new. It is newer to women's sports. But there won't be that same reluctance and reticence when it comes to Cooper Flagg. And
Jesus. I mean, the dude's just a basketball player. And it's the same old, same old. Who's acting like the adult? Caitlin Clark. Who's losing their mind all around her? The media, old men, Kendrick Perkins, Tony Kornheiser. Do his parents have the stomach for this? It's amazing how we've evolved into this. Like, we act like the African-American world owns basketball. They don't own squat. Neither do white guys. They don't own squat. Basketball is a sport. And when you go in the locker room, white and black really doesn't matter, except now maybe it does. And I hate to give any kind of credit, if it's called credit, or I hate to give any kind of, I don't even know the right word, power to that big, fat, racist Kendrick Perkins. But I got to admit, once he said, hey, African-American voters don't vote for a white MVP, it opened this entire deal up. Because there is a white MVP. Their best players in the league have been white, and now it opens this whole idiocy up. White or black should not matter. White or black should not matter when you're walking into the store. White or black should not matter on a basketball court, a football field, a business operation, a radio station, a TV station. And, you know, for the longest time it didn't. And I know people had to act like it did, but for the longest time among civilized society, it didn't. Now we've just lost our mind. Now every time Caitlin Clark does a press conference, she's got to be a combination of Gandhi, Malcolm X, Ronald Reagan, and a basketball player. Is that going to be the same for Cooper Flagg? I don't know. I hope not. But this isn't fueled by anyone other than the media and jealous players of the WNBA. I mean, that's all it is. There's just crazy-ass jealousy among the old guard. Michael Thompson said it best, father of Clay, former NBA champ. The old guard's jealous, the old guard's petty. Well, you know what? Players that are human beings, players that are not ridiculous, are not maniacs, understand. I get in the locker room, man, I don't give a damn if you're black. I don't give a damn if you're white. I don't give a damn. We're going out to dinner. We're going clubbing. We're going wherever. But not the media, man. And it's sad that Kornheiser and Wilbon got into this. It really is. Because for years and years and years, they have been beyond this nonsense. For years and years and years, they've been the go-to. But I understand. See, when you're Tony Kornheiser and you're Mike Wilbon, you got to stay relevant. You know, Wilbon is seen as giving in to the white guy by doing a show. He's not black enough, I heard people at ESPN say. That's stupid. Wilbon is great. Wilbon has always been great. I remember arguing with a guy at ESPN about that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. That is the dumbest. Stephen A. Smith's whole shtick is that so he can be black enough. Everybody knows that, including his producer. But the truth of the matter is, man, in sports, it used to be the oasis. Now, what is this 17 going to turn 18-year-old have to say? Every time a press conference, well, you know, this black guy hit me, this white guy punched me. So what? It's the same thing I said with Caitlin Clark. You know, jealousy of the WNBA, it's good in one sense. Their jealousy, their pettiness has been called out, amplified, put on a national stage to the point where Lynn Dunn, the general manager of the Fever, had to go to the WNBA offices with not only, what I've been told, not only video, but the discussion of the god-awful things that the women, the petty-ass, ridiculous women of the WNBA, the racial things that they were saying to Caitlin Clark. And it's disgusting. So now here we go. Cooper Flagg has to be the guy that gives the Sermon on the Mount every time he plays, according to the media. I just hope that Cooper Flagg handles it 1/10 as well as Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark has been a beacon in a sea of racist, sexist idiots in the WNBA. That has slowed down because what I've been told is the league stepped in and said, look, idiots, stop the stupid. Rising tide lifts all boats, all of those kind of things. It's going to be fascinating. All of a sudden, being a white dude playing basketball is offensive. I remember being the best white player, actually the best basketball player in a 95% black city, Gary, Indiana, and kicking everybody's ass, white or black. Yeah, a couple dudes got mad. But you know what it was? It was more welcoming. Couple guys that I went to high school with that played in college hung out with me because I could get them in the good games at Gary Roosevelt or Gary West Side or at the Spectrum in the hood in Gary. I could get them in because I was a white dude that could ball, kick their ass, and let them know. I could get them in. That's how it used to be. Now the jealousy, now the rage, because that's media-fueled and WNBA. Don't ever follow anything ever that the old guard, as Michael Thompson said, the women of the WNBA do. Be like Costanza. Do the opposite. The women of the WNBA are being racist. Do the opposite. The women, the lesbians of the WNBA are being sexist. Do the opposite. The women of the WNBA are being petty. Do the opposite. If the WNBA women have taught us anything, it's how not to be in sports. And they do it every day. One of the idiots is talking now. I think the girl that elbowed Clark. I'm not even paying attention to saying her name because she's too stupid. Do the opposite. That's my advice to all of you guys and girls out there playing basketball in college when you come across Cooper Flagg. Do the opposite of what WNBA women have done. Act like human beings, not racist, sexist, petty dumbasses. It ain't that hard. You know, it's always something. It's always something. SUMTIN, something. Jason Benetti and I talk about something to do. It's always something with people. Stephen A. Smith, we play the hits here, people. We do. Stephen A. Smith is seeing and getting, probably, he's seeking a massive payday. He wants that bread, yo. And he's probably going to get it. We talked about it yesterday. There really is nobody else at ESPN. What, are you going to turn on and listen to Ryan Clark look all earnest, or Dan Orlovsky tell us all about football, or Mike whoever, and Jimmy who? You know what I'm saying? I mean, who are we going to listen to? We're going to listen to Jorge Sedano? Okay. Hi, Jorge. Hi. No. There's nobody else. Perfect storm for Stephen A. Smith. But even though he's in a perfect storm, and even though he has made more money than he's ever made in his life, more than he deserved, more than he, after getting fired from every job he ever had, and Skip Bayless saved him, he's still bitching. He's still whining. He's trying to act like Michael Jordan. I love it. It's really funny to watch guys that couldn't play basketball try to be basketball guys, and that's what Stephen A. Smith does. He's accusing critics of attempting to obstruct his contract negotiations. You think I'm that stupid? I don't know. I don't think you're real smart. I mean, I think you're an actor. I mean, you're a good actor, but he says, you think I'm that stupid? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. You work hard. You think I ever noticed that the steam has elevated since everyone knows my contract is coming up? You think I'm that stupid? I love how he makes an angry face. You think I don't know what they're trying to do? What these cats are trying to do is trying to bait me so I will do something stupid, so I will get in the way of my dollars? Now, it's so obvious as the sky is blue on a sunny day in Miami. But here's the real question. Why would you want to do that? Why? Yeah, I don't know. What's he talking about? I mean, he's got to be a victim. If you're not a victim, what are you doing? Everybody must be a victim. I must be a victim. I'm trying to get $20 million, but somehow I'm a victim. Oh, okay. I mean, here's the deal, and this goes back, doesn't matter the level. And Stephen A. Smith is at the highest level of this. The more popular, the more money, the more scrutiny, particularly in an industry where you are going to stand out among others. McAfee all of a sudden caught incredible scrutiny because, well, he started making major dollars, because he stood out in an industry where, you know what, you can cookie-cut play-by-play guys. Analysts are hired not because of expertise, but because of their look, their DEI-dom. Sometimes people stand out. Stephen A. Smith, whether you like him or dislike him, stands out. So there's going to be scrutiny. What's the big deal? And particularly when you make it about race, when you make much of what you say, including stupid things like, this is a black thing, you white guys stay out, well, you're going to get more scrutiny. So you want to pound on people, but you don't want anybody to pound back. You want to hit on people. You want to act like the grand poobah of all things, insulting people along the way, but you don't want anybody to take a shot back. Well, that's not how it works. Hell, I get shots taken at me every day. What are you going to do? Well, it doesn't matter to me. I'm not at that level. I mean, we got a great show. It's the best show on TV, but we're not at that level. So he's sitting here being sad because people are taking shots. How many shots a day does that clown take at people? How many shots a day does an unqualified guy like Stephen A. Smith take at basketball players or basketball coaches? Dude couldn't play dead. Couldn't get to college to play. Couldn't get to Division 12. But he's taking all kind of shots, and now he's mad? No, it's ridiculous. Oh, boy, here we go. I've never worked less than 320 days a year in my career at ESPN or in this business. I show up. I've been number one for 12 years in the morning on First Take in terms of ratings and revenue. I've been number one talent for a decade. This ain't about ESPN. This is about the cats coming at me. I'm talking about the cynics and the critics. Well, what do you expect? You're bad. You're loud, you're bad, but you resonate. As hard as I work, as much as I work, along with the results I provide, if I don't get paid, who's getting paid? Non-race baiting human beings that kind of don't yell and scream? I don't know. Pat McAfee? I don't know. The next guy? I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying he shouldn't get paid. He should, but I don't buy that whole ratings and revenue thing. I don't care what ESPN puts out. I got friends inside of ESPN that provide me the actual numbers, and I ain't buying all this. But, hey, look, ESPN should pay him his whatever he is worth. But you also got to be careful. If ESPN pulls the plug, and this is where ESPN isn't smart enough, look, Steven, we're going to pay you $10 million and we're going to pull the plug. Good for your production company. Good for it. We're willing to take all of the boycotts. We're willing to take all the anger. We're willing to take all the stupidity, but this is what we're going to do. We feel $10 million is fair. If you don't feel it to be fair, that's fine. We'll pull the plug. We'll figure out another show. I mean, hell, ESPN used to put Denise Austin up there. As long as ESPN, as long as they have games, great college basketball, great college football, NBA, you name it, NFL, they're fine. That's what I would do. Whatever Smith is making right now, I would say, okay, let's say it's 8, I'd go to 10. Let's say it's 10, I'd go to 12. 20% raise, pretty good in this economy. That's what I would do. But I'm the same guy that would tell college basketball coaches, look, you want to stay at Xavier, stay at Xavier. You want to stay at Dayton, stay at Dayton. But if you want the Indiana job, this is what we're paying. We're not negotiating. We're not doing nothing. Nuts. Nothing. Zero. That's what I would do. But I'm kind of sensible about this. I understand that Stephen A. Smith could be very popular without ESPN, but not close. Not even a little bit. So good for, well, I mean, and here we go. Guys crying, bitching, whining, moaning about working hard. I don't think I've ever worked less than 340 days. I don't know. I mean, that's what I would do. Stephen, we love you. We think you're valuable. Here's what we're going to pay you. If you don't like it, we certainly understand. We're going to give you a 20% raise. That's great. It's more than inflation. I think inflation just went down to 3-something. That's great. That's good news. That makes your money even worth more. And that's it. And look, if you want to bitch, whine, and moan, if you want to embarrass the company, we're going to pull the plug. Well, that's racist. Maybe so. If you say so. But that's what we're doing. See, this stuff is easy. This stuff is not hard. Like, I understand fully that somebody else could do my job tomorrow. I understand. I don't think many people understand that. I think we've become really popular here because we have an unbelievable team. But I understand that these jobs are the best jobs you're ever going to have. So I work my brains out at it. And I don't think I demand much. But once you get into demanding, once you think you're something bigger than what you are, I've always thought this, ESPN is going to be there much longer than when I ever worked there, much longer than when Stephen A. Smith ever works there, much longer than anybody. It's the same thing with Kentucky basketball. It's the same thing with Indiana basketball. UConn basketball has become that. It's going to be there long after. Now, in Danny Hurley's case, it may not be as good. But when Jim Calhoun was there, people thought, well, they'll never keep it at this level. So if I'm ESPN, Stephen, man, do we love you. God, we love you. You're the best. However, we're going to pull the plug on this, and if you don't take this offer, go home, think about it. Go to social media, bitch about it. Complain about McAfee. Do whatever you'd like. Do whatever you'd like. We understand. Look, we do. And then, and only then, will ESPN start to get its company back. But they're never going to do that. The white dudes in Building 4 are so scared. I got so tired of hearing their little buzzwords. Burke Magnus, our team, blah, 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 blah. Oh, shut up. Oh, man, if we lose this revenue from First Take, really? Make it up by hiring Barkley and those guys after this year to do your NBA pregame show. What? Whatever revenue you think you're going to lose by not having Stephen A. Smith there, make it up. Kenny, Barkley, Shaq, let's go. And hire a host that can whoop, 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 whoop. Because Ernie ain't coming. There's your answer. It's very simple. I don't just bitch, people. I give you answers, period. You know, I tell you this all the time. It's always the same people. And it's not always the same people getting in trouble. It's just always going back to Steve Howe, the reliever for the L.A. Dodgers back in the 70s, early 80s. Every month it felt like Steve Howe was getting suspended for drugs. So I paid attention to this. Like I said this, I'm tired of the Morris twins. I'm tired of Ben Simmons. I'm tired of James Harden. in the NBA. Not tired of LeBron. I'm not tired of people that just because they're in the league long. I'm just tired of hearing about them every offseason and them not producing. That's what I'm tired of. And I'm tired. I mean, I have had enough of Davante Adams. I've seen Davante Adams, the wide receiver with the Raiders, interviewed, and I like Davante Adams. I do. But honest to God, every 10 minutes, Davante Adams is in the news about something, a contract negotiation. Now it's a beef. He has a beef with the Chargers social media team. Davante Adams does. Okay. Over the dig they took at him during their schedule release video. Oh, my God, Davante, claiming he was going to respond online, but figured it would just be better to beat their head in real life. All right, Davante, let's hear from you.
It was a little trend a little bit ago where, you know, few of the social media pages were posting some funny stuff of, you know, when the schedule was releasing. So they posted me and then like a trash can or something like that. The Chargers did. So I thought about responding on social media to it and you know, being funny there, but I figured it'd be better to, you know, just beat their head in real life and continue doing it the way, you know, because my first game against them, I don't know, they clearly forgot.
Yeah,
it was like 10 catches, 141 yards and a touchdown. And then the next time, that same year, it was like 177 yards and, you know, 2 touchdowns. I think it was that game. So I just wanted to kind of remind them what they've been going through as it pertains to playing against me. And hopefully the people that made that post, because it's not the players' fault. They didn't have anything to do with the post, but this is directed strictly toward the Chargers social media page. Please keep my name out your mouth and show some.
Are you in this new era where you're just letting it fly and opening up more? Because I was not expecting that. Davante, I feel like you're at this point of your career where you're just letting it fly.
I am. You know, I'm
good for you.
They treat me like an old man, so I'm gonna just act like, because, you know, old men, they don't think, they just say whatever, you know, whatever they feel. So that's how my grandpa is, at least. So I'm just trying to be the old man that they want me to be.
Well, good luck.
Okay, K. Adams. Woo! I mean, women are just ridiculous. Anyway, here's the social media post that got this little guy all upset. Here it is. Here's the little social media post. Oh, okay. Pop-Tarts. Okay. All right. Great. Garbage. Yeah. All right. That got him all upset. Everybody's upset. Keep my name out your mouth. Oh, okay. Well, if you say it like that, then I must. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, it's like every single, like, you know what else I'm getting tired of? Gronk. I've had enough. You know, I mean, yeah, okay, enough. I mean, you're not funny. I mean, go do whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. There are just some people, like, I saw where Ben Simmons is going to be 100% next year. Okay. The Morris twins. James Harden's contract. It all goes back to Steve Howe. It all goes back. Pac-Man Jones, isn't he? He got to get in some kind of tussle, doesn't he? Somewhere, somehow. Davante Adams. Like every year we got to listen to Davante. Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has moved into that with me. Aaron Rodgers, look, I don't mind John McAfee. I love that you make, well, people crazy. But the truth of the matter is, win some football games. Yeah, it's just, I'm getting a headache from you. And I don't want a headache. Yeah, if I want a headache, I want it because of a great night out. I don't need a headache from these guys. I don't. No. Friend of the show, college football legend, Lou Holtz, offers his thoughts about the idea of non-American citizens voting in the upcoming 2024 election. He's not having it. Here's Coach Holtz.
I'm one of these individuals that no matter what's going on, I want to be part of it. When I go to a wedding, I want to be the groom. I go to the funeral, I want to be the corpse. The list goes on. I go to a banquet, I want to be the speaker. Well, that's why I'm going to stick my 2 thoughts about what's going on in this country. This idea about you could have a vote without being a citizen, that's wrong. I don't care how you twist it or turn it. Nobody in this country should stand for that. That's not the right thing to do. You win the election fair and square, that's great. But we aren't going to have non-citizens vote. That's just my thought. And for anybody to say that's okay, That's hypocritical.
Republicans are pushing. Here's what they're doing. The Republicans are pushing the passage, and it passed yesterday, but 198 Democrats actually voted for illegal immigrants to vote. It's really stupid. Republicans are pushing for the passage of the Safeguard American Vote Eligibility Act, which would amend the National Voter Registration Act and require states to obtain proof of citizenship from voters for federal election, as well as purge non-citizens from voter rolls. Democratic leadership is urging its House members to vote against the bill in the lead up to the vote, saying it would place an extreme burden on countless Americans in order to vote. No, it wouldn't. Dan Wolken, our friend who is uber liberal, who is just an idiot. He's somehow got himself a job writing for the USA Today. He says, Lou, as someone who's been alive in this country for 87 years, I would expect you to know that non-citizens are not allowed to vote. Do better. Okay, Dan. Little pizza-stained Wolken. Well, I don't know. Then why are we having this amendment? Why are we discussing the passage of the Safeguard American Voter Act? There's Danny Wolken. Got a nice pizza stain on him. I hate to even mention this little pussy, but you know what? He is what he is. And he's just creeping around. He's an uber liberal. And, he takes a shot at Lou Holtz's age. We all know what he's doing. He's just being typical. He's a little bitch that's being typical. And that's who Dan Wolken is. It just is. I mean, he can act, instead of, it's amazing. Guys are going to get older, and they're going to realize how stupid they were for criticizing or slyly criticizing someone's age. Wolken is irrelevant. He's just weird, and he is such a liberal that he can't stand it. But I don't know. You tell me, if non-citizens are allowed to vote, why are we having this passage? Why are we pushing for a passage of the why is there a Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act? I'll tell you why. Because everybody knows what's going on. They're squeezing as many non-citizens in, giving them all kind of stuff, passports, whatever, money, whatever, and hoping they vote. That's it. If you think, and Wolken wouldn't know this, Wolken lives in his little world, but if you lived in Northwest Indiana or in Chicago, you understand this. You understand it. Yeah, you can have a non-citizens are voting, but you also got to understand somehow, some way, 81 or 84, whatever it was, million people, somehow, some way voted for Biden. And frankly, it's not statistically possible the way it went down. So this is called getting out ahead of it. But Danny Wolken's so liberal, who cares? Kawhi Leonard withdrew from the USA Basketball Olympic team. Oh, my God, didn't see that coming. Oh, my God, good. Derek White's going to replace him. Good. Kawhi Leonard's another guy. Kawhi Leonard, when you think about Kawhi Leonard, what do you think of? Doesn't play. Hurt. Said he's been feeling good for the last 2 weeks, gave it a try, and then, between the Clippers and USA Basketball and him, they decided it would be in his best interest not to play. That ain't what happened. Guarantee you that ain't what happened. The story will come out at some point, but that ain't what happened. That's fronting, as we call it in Gary. And you fronting. There's always a backstory, people. There is never not a backstory. Kawhi Leonard didn't all of a sudden go from I'm not playing in the Olympics to sitting in some bar with a hoochie girl all over him, as I saw yesterday, because, you know what? We decided that I am hurt and I need to, no chance, no way. There is a backstory here. I don't know what it is. There is never going to be a media member that's going to find it out. Maybe Chris Broussard. But other than that, nobody's going to find it out until the documentary comes out. And even then, depending on who has control of the documentary. But I tell you this all the time. There is always 110% a backstory. Period. This ain't Kawhi Leonard waking up one day saying, you know what? I just don't think I'm going to play. It's in my best interest to go help the clip joint. Really? Okay. If you believe that, I got swampland. How about that? The insufferable George Clooney, who hosted a fundraiser for Joe Biden literally 2 weeks ago, has come out of the woodworks calling on Biden to step aside through a recent op-ed in the New York Times. The same fundraiser, Obama had to drag Biden by the arm and lead him off stage. Now, I got to tell you, I got to tell you. What about the $28 million you raised? Listen to this. He says, it's devastating to say it, but the Joe Biden I was with 3 weeks ago at the fundraiser was not the Joe Big effing Deal Biden of 2010. Wait a second. Hold on here. You knew when you were having this fundraiser, and you still bilked people out of money to donate to this guy. Based on that statement right there. That's what you did. You knew. Well, when I was with him 3 weeks ago, he wasn't the same guy. What? But you still went ahead with it? You still took people's money? Knowing that this guy was probably half dead? That's what you did? And we're supposed to listen to you? Listen to this. He wasn't even the Joe Biden of 2020. He was the same man we all witnessed at the debate. And yet Clooney took their money. And yet Clooney, sorry, smug, ridiculous, bullshit ass, took $28 to $30 million in that night. Bilking people. They did not, those people, come there to give the money to, I don't know, Nancy Pelosi or Barack Obama. This was earmarked as a Biden fundraiser. And the co-chair of it, the famous George Clooney, was too chicken shit because, well, that's the famous actor and what they do, too chicken shit to say, whoa. He ain't right. And here's the other thing. You think Clooney just recognized this? You don't think as the chairman of this thing and this popular guy who is in pictures with Biden all the time didn't know this before? This is fraud. This is absolute 1,000% fraud. If I had given money to these dumbasses, first, I would have to look at myself in the mirror and say, what is wrong with you? But if I had given money to these clowns, I'd be saying, yo, I want my money back. Stop payment on this. This is fraud. George Clooney is saying right here in an op-ed in the New York Times that he knew this was a fraud. Now, everybody, because he's George Clooney, and isn't he cute? No, he's about 5'2" with a big head. Come on. It's Hollywood. But nobody's going to charge him with fraud. I would. If I was the Department of Justice, there would be 2 agents at his door reading this to him. When did you know? Here's a picture of you from 6 months ago with the president. When did you know? Why didn't you have the balls, the sack, to say, look, hey, this ain't right? No, this ain't right. Because these frickin' Democrats are insane. They're insane in their hatred of Donald Trump. I mean, and nothing will happen. There'll be some bullshit about, well, we can't because the Shut up. On top of that, we are not going to win in November with this president. What do you mean we? What are you doing? What do you mean we? But you knew that. And you still took these people's money. On top of that, we won't win the House. We're going to lose the Senate. This isn't only my opinion, but this is the opinion of every senator and Congress member and governor that I've spoken with in private. So you've spoken with all these people. And this isn't like everything happens in a bubble. Hey, this happened after the fundraiser. You've spoken to all these people. I guarantee George Clooney's on the phone. He wants to get you to come to this fraudulent fundraiser, but nobody's going to say this. This boils my blood if that's possible. Every single one, irrespective of what he or she is saying publicly. Let's hear from Wes Moore, Camilla Harris, Gretchen Whitmer, Gavin Newsom, Andy Beshear, J.B. Pritzker, and others. Let's agree that the candidates do not attack one another, but in the short time we have, focus on will make this country soar. Really? Haven't you had 3.5 years? I mean, I understand that every time I see something coming from the Democrats, it isn't about what policies they have. It's about Donald Trump. It isn't about, hey, look what we've done here for us. It's about Donald Trump. That's all it ever is. We must defeat Trump. We must make this country soar. Forgive me, you clown, but he has been in office for 3.5 years. Let me say that again. For 3.5 years. Now he's going to do, Biden, another interview, this time with NBC. I want you to think about this. It is a third attempt to make the President of the United States sound sane, sound viable, not sound presidential, sound viable. Well, okay, now I can deal with that. Sound sane, sound coherent. It's a third attempt. First attempt, debate. Can't even tell you how bad that failed. George Stephanopoulos, can't tell you how bad that failed. Just to sound like he's all there. Now I want you to think about that just for a second. NBC is hosting him to another discussion just to make him sound coherent. He's going to have a, quote, big boy press conference just to make him sound coherent. Now, you may not like Trump, and you may think that personally, and if this is what you think, if you actually get your morality from presidents and you disregard Ronald Reagan or the Bushes and their morality, certainly Clinton and, of course, JFK, you may dislike, and you may think that from a personality standpoint, Donald Trump set the bar low, but there ain't nothing lower than the President of the United States having to is an 0-2 count right now. 0-2. He screwed up the debate like nobody else has. He will not recover from that. He just as bad. I don't know if I watched the debate with George Stephanopoulos. Now this is the third attempt just to sound coherent. I want you to please think about that. And these idiots in Hollywood, they knew. They knew and they took your money. Isn't that kind of what Biden does? He knows he's full of crap, but he takes our money. He knows he's funding a ridiculous war that wasn't there and wouldn't have been there had Donald Trump stayed in office, but he's taking our money. Isn't that what he's doing? Hollywood no different than the politicians. They know what they're doing. They know it's full of shit, and they're taking our money. I told you before, and I'll tell you again, I never, ever, 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 ever had a problem. Never, not once, had a problem paying taxes. Now I do. 100% I do. Hey, by the way, what would be a day if Joy Reid didn't go nuts? Joy Reid, I don't know if she's losing her hair. I don't know what the hell, but she's certainly losing her mind. I've never watched Joy Reid. The only time I've ever watched Joy Reid is on these little snippets. Take a look. Here's I guess, the best representative in the media that the Democrats have, Joy Reid. Let's see it.
Let's not be trying to play games with these kinds of small things to try to pull us into a direction. All that matters in this election, and I genuinely mean this, all that matters in this election, the only thing that matters in this election is keeping Donald Trump and Project 2025 out of power. Keeping that insane ideology of white Christian nationalism and white supremacy and white male Christian dominance out of power. That's all that matters. I genuinely don't care who the Democratic nominee is, and I'm being real. I don't care. If it's Biden, fine. If it's Kamala Harris, fabulous, right? But it's going to be one of the two of them. Let's just not play crazy games now. There are rules the way that this process works. It's one of the two of them. Either one, I don't care. Or if you want to parachute somebody else in and they not him, they not the orange one, they not the one who quotes Hitler, fine, put him in, I don't care. Because all that matters, I'm going to say this to y'all again, all that matters in this upcoming election is that you keep that man and that Project 2025 plan out of power. That's all you need to understand. And to do that, you are going to need to vote against the party that has embraced white Christian nationalism. The Republican Party is gone. It has been replaced by Project 2025 and MAGA and Trump. That's all that's left. That party is gone.
Yeah, that's funny. You never heard about Project 2025 until Joe Biden sat in his own shit during the election. I mean, it really is. It is interesting. You know, they tried to hit Ben Shapiro on Project 2025 yesterday. Not Josh Hawley, one of them other Eric Swalwell did, who was stooping a Chinese spy, and he just made him look like idiots. You want the government to spend your money wisely? Yes. You want accountability? Yes. You want efficiency? Yes. You never heard about this Project 2025 until Joe Biden started losing. It's typical. I mean, look, people like her, Joy Reid, yeah, I know. It's always racism. It's always this. It's always that. White Christian. Hey, look, I'm a white Christian. I ain't mad at me. And I know we're not supposed to say that, but I'm a white Christian. I kind of like other white Christians. That makes me a bad guy. I like black Christians. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I wish our government would spend efficiently. I do. That's part of it. Gay marriage, I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. That's part of it. That's losing their mind. Abortion, look, I don't know what to tell you. I do think it should be at the state level. If you're all for killing babies, then God bless you. Not me, but if you are, good. It's up to you. But it is amazing, all of the stupidity. They cannot do it. They absolutely, Joy Reid and others, cannot do it. They cannot do it. They cannot give you any policies that are working under Joe Biden. They can't. They can't sit there and go, look how great our border is. Look how stable the world is. You know, inflation is down. You're going to hear a lot about that. And that's great. I'm all for that. But it's too late. I mean, 4 years from now, you think Joe Biden's going to be coherent? No, they cannot do it. It's impossible for them to do, so they got to do what Joy Reid is doing. Scare you. We hate Trump. We all get it. We hate Trump. Okay, you hate Trump. Good. But what are you doing to make us better? What are you doing to make our military better? What are you doing to make us safer? What are you doing about crime? What are you doing about immigration? I mean, those are the issues that people want to know, not Project 2025, where it says, hey, how about we spend efficiently in our government? Oh, the horror. These people are idiots. Hey, you can think I'm an idiot too if you're on the other side, but if you really listen to what I'm saying, it makes sense. Why not just talk about your policies as opposed to just what Donald Trump is or isn't in support of? Because all you're doing is lying about Trump, by the way.